Urban Crag Climbing Center is a rock gym located in Dayton, Ohio, with 8,000 feet of textured and sculpted vertical terrain ranging from 28 to 56 feet. For more info, go to urbancrag.com or call 937-224-CRAG.
In front of you is the Innerwest Land Use Staff Report. They voted 4-0 opposing the variances and the conditional use. The variances are for a minimum lot size and not to provide bicycle parking spaces. This is the property at 570 West Stewart Street. It's an old medical building that was used and is no longer being used as a medical facility. Staff has looked at the site plan and has come up with some conclusions. One is that a lighting plan needs to be submitted before it's approved by zoning. There should be a revised site plan showing a fence, outdoor fence area that should be a minimum of 5 feet high. Staff is also requesting that street trees be placed along the street tree lawn of Cincinnati and Stewart Street. That they have paved the parking area according to city standards, because right now it's you don't know where to park. There's no markings in parking. They should screen the waste receptacles, and that the curb cut should be moved from Stewart Street. Traffic and Engineering has reviewed the curb cuts, and one of the problems is specifically this one. The signal for West Stewart Street is connected to a pad south of that. So in order to activate the light, all those cars leaving from that exit will not activate the light. And so the other alternative is to move the signaling beam south of that, where it could, or north of that, where it could activate, and it would cost a lot of money to do that. So staff is recommending also, just for traffic flow, and also because they're planning on putting the play area in this area, that this curb cut also be closed to make sure no vehicles try to turn into what the play area is going to be. This is the tree lawn on Stewart Street, where staff is requesting to plant trees according to city standards. Also a tree lawn along Cincinnati Street. Again, staff is requesting the denial of the bike racks. We think that they can provide them, and it is shown on the existing site plan. The applicant shall submit a lighting plan for the subject property and be reviewed by the zoning administrator. And according to section 150.65, all activities areas shall be enclosed by a fence or wall having at least 5 feet in height, and entry gate should be fastened. Applicant shall install street trees along Stewart and Cincinnati Street according to the requirements in RCGO 150.800.6 landscaping requirements along street frontages.
The site plan includes a bicycle rack.
It says it's optional, and so we want to make sure it's not optional, that it is part of the site plan. The site plan puts it as an optional.
Deborah Ellen Hicks.
I'm sorry.
It's pronounced Deborah, but I go by Debbie, so it makes it easier. And I live at 1611 Alwaldy, which is about 5-6 minute walk from West Stewart Street. Married, raised my children there, and I opened up my first location, as he stated, on Martin Chapel. I found out that the building was vacant, and I needed to expand the school-age program, because where I'm located now, with all the houses that are coming up in that area, I cannot accommodate the people in the area because it is coming back. And I looked at the corner, figured I could expand that to a before and after school. Not a full daycare. It will not house 6 weeks to 12 years of age. The children there are only 5 to 12 years of age. They will go to school. We will make sure that they're not standing on the street, because as you know, you have to have an adult if the child is a kindergartner.
The zoning code requires, once the outside play area is determined by the state, the zoning code requires a 5-foot fence or wall with a secure entry gate. If she does anything less than that, then she may have to come back and seek a variance.
On the whole perimeter, like my one on Dayton, I have the whole thing, parking lot and everything fenced in. And I do that because I don't want anybody coming in on the property, leaving things on the property, and when materials like the kids' toys, balls, and everything is out there, it's not that easy or accessible.
That playground area complies with that section as it pertains to a fence or a wall.
There's been a motion made by Mr. Brand, seconded by Mr. Brocker. Would you please pull the board?
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Brand? Yes. Mr. Brocker?
Yes.
Mr. Siani?
Yes.
Ms. Cicero?
Yes. Your application has approved with conditions. Number 052-2011. This is at 1132 Patterson Road. This is a variance application to allow off-street parking space in front of the dwelling at 1132 Patterson Road, City Lot 57822, in an ER eclectic single-family residential district. The applicant is Stephanie Winquist. The owner is also Stephanie Winquist. Priority Board is Southeast. Planning District is Patterson Park. Staff contact is Mr. Rodney.
This is as it exists today. You can see the small gravel parking area there located to the right of the driveway in front of the dwelling. This is the subject of this case. The proposal is to establish legal parking in front of the residence. As you know, parking is prohibited in front of residential structures. It requires one variance in this case. Staff analysis and the materials submitted by the applicant. They purchased the property in June of 2007 without prior knowledge of the zoning restrictions for residential parking. They claim that they were not aware that this particular parking space was illegal at the time they purchased the property. Received a notice of violation dated June 13th of this year for illegal use of gravel materials and parking in front of the residence. They contacted housing inspection and also zoning inspection, and that's kind of how they came before you today. The sections of Patterson Road east of Smithville have on-street parking. The sections west of Smithville do not. None of it has a turn lane. So it's a little bit different dynamic on one side of Smithville than you see on the other as far as Patterson Road is concerned. There's only about 3 or 4 feet between the driveway and the side lot line. That's typically where we permit additional parking on residential structures. It's between the existing driveway and the side lot line. In this case, since there's only a couple of feet there, that's really not an option in this case. Taking that all into consideration, planning staff felt we could support this particular variance in this case. And there's no other option available to these folks to provide the additional space that is permitted by the zoning code for other properties or other residential properties. Staff recommends adoption of alternative 2 in your packet, the staff report, which states the variance approved as requested subject to these following conditions. And these were put in mainly to sort of limit the size of this parking space and to minimize its impact in that front yard setback. So the provision of 1 additional parking space must be adjacent and parallel to the existing driveway. It must be limited to 9 feet in width and 18 feet in depth, which is the standard size of a parking stall that we permit here in the city. It's prohibited from they're prohibited from expanding the existing driveway apron. This is to try to keep it from being a double wide driveway, essentially from the house all the way up to the curb. So it's still functions as a single driveway. It just has this turn-off spot. This next picture sort of flies in the face of that, of what staff would like to see as far as these small driveway expansions. This is the case where we actually have a parking pad that's perpendicular to the driveway, where you see the broad side of the vehicle, and typically you actually see this vehicle parked here, which makes it even worse because it's a much larger vehicle than what you see there. So this is the sort of situation that we don't want to see, where the car, there's a little fence, there's a little bit of landscaping, but really what you see is the car. That's the dominant feature. So we felt that this, was acceptable. This is not, and what those conditions hope to provide is some assurances that we won't see this.
From 1132 Patterson Road. I actually don't have a lot to add after that very thorough presentation. Just that this is the 2-car family, I guess, and it's more than just a matter of convenience. It is a very, very busy street during rush hour, so really it does go to the safety of both us and the other drivers on Patterson Road.
I'm assuming that you've had an opportunity to review or at least have explained the conditions that staff is recommending that we adopt. There are 4 of them. Have you had an opportunity to discuss with staff any conditions?
Are those the ones that he just went over?
Yes. The additional, one additional off-street parking space may be provided adjacent and parallel to the existing driveway. Off-street parking spaces placed perpendicular to existing driveway shall be prohibited.
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
2 is an additional off-street parking space shall be limited to 9 feet and a width of 18 feet in depth.
Yes.
And the existing driveway apron shall not be expanded to accommodate any additional off-street parking space. The last one is lot coverage requirement shall not be exceeded. And you understand all of those?
Yes.
There's been a motion made and a second to that motion. Would you please pull the board?
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Brand?
Yes.
Mr. Brocker?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Ciani?
Yes.
Ms. Cicero?
Yes. Your variance has been approved with conditions. Thank you.
You do formally swear or affirm that what you will say or about to say is true under the pain of those occurred. Thank you.
Project site in question, as you see, it's a little bit different than the last case in that the area is actually already paved as opposed to being gravel, but it's located in it's a similar size and located in a similar location as in the previous case. Same sort of issues. Patterson Road is very busy, lacks on-street parking and turn lanes. They have a similar situation. They have a limited area to the side of their driveway to provide additional space. They have an attached garage which limits the availability of providing a space in the rear yard. Similar to the previous case, for those reasons stated, planning staff supports this variance as requested.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Holland. I live at 1126 Patterson Road. I also brought my own presentation, but most of it you already have. It's a lot of pictures, about 5 pictures. You can see with the pictures that I brought, the way of the bricks are laid out. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it's supposed to be for parking. They are for parking. It was dug down several inches, probably 6 or 7 inches with sand and then gravel underneath of that. So I've been told it's been there for over 3 years and it has not sunk or cracked. So I think that aesthetically, like you were saying, it looks very nice still. It is a very, very busy street. It can take up to a minute to get out of the driveway with one car. And I don't know how it would be trying to get 2 cars out at once, especially in rush hour traffic. Our neighbors have stated to me that they have been rear-ended just trying to pull in forward to their driveways.
These standards for variance, as Mr. Rodney had stated, it seems that they can be met.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Brand?
Yes.
Mr. Brocker?
Yes.
Mr. Ciani?
Yes.
Ms. Cicero?
Yes. Your variance request was passed with conditions. Thank you.